Live from the Green Room Studios, from the spacious property of Bates Nursery and Garden Center, 3810 Whites Creek Pike, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates.
Oh, welcome in, everybody. Calm down, calm down, calm down. We're going to be here for a whole hour. It's a Saturday morning tradition. It's the At Home Show, coming to you alive from the Green Room Studios here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. That's 3810 Whites Creek Pike. It's 0.9 miles north of Bradley Parkway at exit 19. Good morning, everybody. I'm Josh.
And I'm David.
Yep, it's David. It's hot
I'm feeling a little. Look how hot I am. I am just I'm a red. I'm so hot.
Yes, you are.
I am so hot. So,
wow, David, I can
how
feel it
hot
from
are
here.
you? Yes.
I am extremely hot, and I don't know. It seems like I am roasting over here, and
I think some of the crepe myrtle is rubbing off on you too. It could be
it
pigmentation.
He had his face down in it, so I mean, it's going to have to pick up some of that. So,
well,
hey.
we will. We'll work on my appearance, which is maybe an act of futility, as we go through the show today. But first of all, let's talk about the weather.
Okay.
And today, of course, is Saturday, July 2nd. How did that happen? July got here pretty quickly, and we've got a chance of scattered thunderstorms.
That's me.
Which is pretty much the case every day until whenever. 92 degrees for the high today, and perhaps a chance of some rain. It's been elusive here at Bates Nursery, but some areas have gotten some pretty good showers. Tomorrow, only 90 degrees and perhaps a little more widespread thunderstorms.
Hope so.
Would be great. On Monday and Tuesday, there's really no talk of storms. Few clouds, 96 both days. A little warmer still on Wednesday, 98. Again, isolated thunderstorms. And some afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, again 98, 94. Friday with scattered thunderstorms. I don't know what the difference between isolated to scattered and PM thunderstorms is exactly, but
that's in the nighttime.
They got all these different graphics. They just stick them in there. And then for next Saturday, it looks to be, pretty much as it currently is, partly cloudy. With a high of 92, it's currently, it says 79. I believe it's probably closer to about 83 or 4 right now. I forgot to refresh my temperature. 81 here at the airport. Of course, no one lives at the airport. But
that's what you think, David.
It's a holiday weekend. There's a bunch of people living there. So
yes.
But it's going to be great. It's summertime, folks.
It is. My little plot got some water finally.
By the way,
Mine did
ladies
not.
and gentlemen, that's the showrunner, Tyler.
Hey.
Hey.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I hope y'all are too. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
David, your
you've been
blood pressure's
gone all
up
week,
again,
haven't you,
so-
Tyler?
I have been gone. I went to wow, I'm just not going
Where'd
to get
you
used
go?
to that. I went to North Carolina.
Oh, wow. What
Yeah.
part?
Hendersonville, Asheville area in the mountains because I needed a break from the crazy temperatures, and went to the Biltmore and saw the beautiful gardens there and saw some amazing plants, which I'm still recovering from, realizing my garden is again inadequate.
Did you go to the Orangearium while you were there?
I didn't go to the Orangearium. I don't even know if they have an Orangearium.
They did. They used to have one.
Yeah, at the Biltmore?
Yep,
They had a pomegranate tree.
they did.
Yeah, with green pomegranates on it, but I did not see any oranges.
No. It's an indoor. It's like a great big.
The conservatory?
Yep, indoor conservatory there.
I did go to the conservatory.
Oh, okay.
And yes, it's filled with tropical plants, and
Stuff.
exotic things. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
By the way, Tyler, my key is
I
off
see.
again. So,
I see. Yeah, you
so-
need to change your pitch, David. Try
My
this level instead.
Okay.
Oh, there I go.
See, it fixed it.
It's better, but boy, my color is questionable today.
It's in season, David.
I'm just
It is
worried
in season.
that the Oompa Loompas are going to start rolling you away here. in a minute.
Well, you know what? Anything's possible. And that's the way it goes here on the At Home Show.
You go to the
we're gonna
squeezing
go ahead
room
and
if you're bad.
Acknowledge our other contributors to
Yes.
the program
That's
here.
right.
We have Caroline back in studio today. Good morning,
Bravo.
Caroline.
Yay.
Good morning.
And Austin.
Hello.
So how was your week last week, Caroline? You were away. So what were you doing?
I was away. I went somewhere opposite than Tyler, somewhere that was hot. I was at the beach. Oh, we're getting a close up here.
You're
Good
talking
morning.
about it.
And I did nothing but swim. So it was great. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Saw some plants that were around the pool where I was staying. Yeah.
You went to the beach and you went in the pool?
Well, I did both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I would get enough beach time, I would go float in the pool. Then I would go back. Or if there were a bunch of annoying kids at the beach,
Or
I
the
would go to the
pool.
pool. Or the pool. Then I would
Yes.
go to the beach. Yeah.
Josh, it's in vogue. When you're at the beach, you go to the pool by the beach.
Yeah. Come on, Josh.
Oh, okay.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, but it's great to be back. I watched you guys yesterday or Saturday.
Okay.
Feels like yesterday.
Well, you can do that.
And
You can
did
watch it on
great.
Saturday.
Or
I know
From anywhere,
Tyler,
even at the
I know
beach.
Tyler is especially glad for you to be back, Caroline, because he was playing double, triple duty last week. He had all the questions to deal with in addition to all the other duties.
My
So,
brain power was just at capacity.
I couldn't
That's
even
all I
tell.
could
You
do.
did great. I thought I was here.
I
You
need
did
like
that good.
4 more arms. No, I'm so glad you're here. You're gonna do amazing today. We're all gonna do amazing.
We're all going to do great. David's blending in with the crepe myrtle. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good show.
It's just the impossible dream today. It seems I can't. I'm not actually this embarrassed, but it does blend nicely with the color of the crepe myrtle back there behind me. But
Yeah, we'll
What
go
are
with
those crepe myrtles that are that color?
That's a good question. I didn't even read the tag. There's a number of purple / pinks
you're the
out there.
closest one, Josh.
Yeah,
I can't
read the
see
tag and
behind
see
me.
which
We've
one
got
that one is.
petite orchid here.
All right.
petite orchid here.
Yeah.
That's
That should
cute.
mostly be the same.
Boy,
yeah.
that's a deal too.
That thing's really blooming too. I tell you, that's why we brought it. I mean, it's almost got more blooms than leaves. It's good looking.
Would they be
It makes me
semi-dwarf?
want one.
Yeah. Would they be the super tall ones or the medium ones?
No,
or-
hence the name petite. They're going to be
Okay.
a little bit smaller. They're a mid-size. You know, they're not like a true dwarf, not like a little bitty, 4x4 or something. But they could be 8 to 10 feet tall.
This one's covered with blooms
Yeah,
too.
it's
huh?
really loaded. So
I might do
our lot
that.
right now is loaded with crepe myrtles that are blooming. There's a lot of pretty options right now.
Well, I'm sure that will get mentioned in the coming segment up here, a little further ahead in the program. But Caroline, I know you likely have a host of questions lined up for us. So, what do you have for starters?
All right, here we go. Who's ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Austin, are you ready?
Always.
David, are you ready?
Yes, I
He's
am
very ready.
All right. I just needed to hear from
Somewhat.
all of you. Apple tree has large holes in trunk and only produces fruit the size of cherries. Can it be saved?
Oh man, the old
Uh-oh.
holes in the. I'm wondering if that's from the old woodpecker, the old yellow-bellied sapsucker. You heard of that one? That
Yes,
one.
I have.
Could be
That one will go around the tree. Yeah. If it's only producing apples that only get cherry size and then drop off, it's most certainly probably a fungus that's on your tree that, yes, can be treated. Pruning is certainly a good option with older apple trees. I don't know how old it is, but if it's got a trunk that's getting a lot of holes in it, then it's probably a little bit older. So, I mean, it can be saved. It's not necessarily like dead or anything, but there is some treatment, options we need to kind of explore. So if you want to bring me some pictures out here and let me look at it and see if I can help diagnose, or maybe you could send a sample off to the Ellington Ag Center to get them to test it and see if you've got some sort of pathogen going on that's happening every year that we can help out with. That would be helpful. But apples in Middle Tennessee are apples in Middle Tennessee. They're not tried and true just every single year. So we kind of have to do some things to get them on the right track. So bring some pictures. Let me look at it and see if we can't help you.
And the sapsuckers and the woodpeckers, they're very orderly birds. So I mean, those you'll be able to tell those from being in line, as it were, and they'll go around and just have a good time.
Yeah, what Josh is talking about is like literally perfect holes that are like wrapped around the trunk in a perfect line. So that's the evidence that the woodpeckers leave. So if you get too many of those holes, the plant will stress enough to where it will eventually kick off. But they can live with it for a while. But there's some steps we need to do to get it back on track.
Would that be disruptive enough to just completely kind of halt the water flow up the plant?
It will certainly minimize it. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it'll and nutrient uptake and everything that happens within that the main lines of the tree. And the more damage you get, the more issues you're going to see up top. So.
Because generally speaking, if a tree gets damaged on the bark all the way around, you're pretty well messed up.
Just inside the bark, yes. It's there's two lines. The xylem and the phloem is technically what they're called, and they transport.
Xyloflow.
There you go. And they transport all the water and then all the nutrients and all the sugars that go down into the roots. So if you sever that tie all the way around a tree, you will kill it. Especially
and that's
right now.
what a weed eater or another string trimmer is particularly adept at doing. Is people who try to use a weed whacker all the way around the trees, they're really setting themselves up for disaster potentially.
Yeah, especially on newly or planted trees or just small trees in general. If you get a weed eater around it and sever those ties, you're going to see some issues. So yeah, keep the weed eater off the bark.
Would that technically be called girdling? Is that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. If you put like a wire around a tree and it slowly grew, and that wire cut the main ties, that's going to be girdling.
That's happening to one of my trees.
Although I have seen some trees with a wire around them actually grow beyond the girdle and reattach and then overcome it.
They most definitely will. I've got a funny tree on my property right now that's got a gate, an old entrance gate, like a cattle gate that grew. It was laid on the tree, just kind of stored there, I guess. And then as the years went on, the tree grew around it. It literally looks like the tree ate the gate. I mean, I can't physically get it off that tree. It's eating it. So trees are crazy. They can grow around a lot of things. You can get on Google like images and look up plants that have eaten things. Like if you do that, and you'll see there's like old bicycles and old random metal things that have gotten taken over by a tree because it'll just grow around them and
barbed wire fences.
Barbed wire fences, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Trees on my property have eaten quite a few things.
Art.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, here we go. Question number 2. Let me start again. I just built raised beds. Is it too late to plant herbs and veggies?
Nah.
No, certainly not. I mean, you're obviously going to lessen your yield because we have gotten really later in the season. Now, with herbs, that doesn't matter so much. Some herbs you want to avoid, like cilantro, they just really bolt quickly. When I say bolt,
cool season.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It's better to grow that in the fall.
When people understand what you mean when you say bolt.
Yeah, bolt
might not understand.
Yeah, probably not. Bolting just means blooming, more or less. So there's a lot of plants, like cool season plants specifically. And when you get them out in the spring and then the summer temps like we had this year specifically got really hot really quickly, those plants want to bolt, and that means go to flower and then go to seed. And whenever that happens with most plants, the herbs get bitter. Specifically, even like lettuce. Lettuce gets very bitter if it bolts on you. So there's a number of plants you want to avoid that with. But honestly, it's fine to put out herbs right now. It's fine to put out, say, tomatoes and peppers. It's just you're gonna see they're a little stunted because it's really so hot right now that they're not gonna produce as much as if you would if you had them in an earlier time. But sure, I mean, at least get your foot in the door. You just planted, you just built the raised beds. You may as well plant something in it. I mean, just at least get stuff growing, learning how to grow stuff. So it won't be too long, and we'll be having some cool weather crops that you can get in those raised beds and have a nice fall garden this year with your broccolis and cabbages, cauliflower, lettuce, all that good cool season stuff. So yeah.
And lettuce is easy it really is.
Sow and sow again.
Yeah.
And speaking of sowing, you might want to be looking towards the end of July and the beginning of August to sow some of your seeds for your fall crops. Some of them take longer to germinate. Usually all your seed packets will give you the relevant information for when you need to germinate inside and get them out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool season can be a misconception for a lot of people. A lot of people think you got to wait till it gets cold before you plant that stuff out there. That's not the case. You need to get it out when it's warm enough to get that plant growing and get it nice and large to where it can withstand some of those cold temperatures in the fall. And even some of the broccolis and cauliflowers and kale and things like that can take some frost as long as they're big enough to handle it. Okay, so you're going to see some damage on some leaves probably, but if their plant's big enough, then it can get through that and then still finish for you. So we need to make sure that it's warm enough to get those things set out, and we'll have the plants available for you when it's warm enough to get them set out in the garden. That way you have a nice fall crop when it does get cold.
Yes, we will. I had a kale plant that lived for 2 years.
Wow.
Never died. And then I pulled it out of the ground because it got way too big.
Yeah. They're technically biennial, I believe, so they'll live the first season and then set seed the second season.
It didn't set seed. It stayed green.
Well, You may have pulled it out too early.
No, I gave it 2 years and then pulled it out. That was
Now
long
that it was
enough.
on schedule.
It was starting to eat my house. We were talking about plants eating things. You know, it's just consuming everything.
They do look a bit prehistoric looking when they get really large.
Yeah, it was big. It was taller than me. It was crazy.
They're
Wow.
not good to eat when they get that big either. No.
But it was kind of fun to see how long it would last. And then I realized that it might last forever and it was time to say goodbye. All right, let's move on to our next question. We've got a fig question. How often to water big fig trees? No rain, so some dry yellowing leaves. I haven't watered mine.
Yeah. Yours been in the ground a while.
3 years.
Yeah. With plants that have been in the ground a while, for the most part, you don't have to water. Now, we've had a period of drought this year that's been a little bit unlike others. So, I mean, if you haven't had any rain and you're starting to see interior yellowing on the fig tree, that's pretty much a sign of not enough water. So, I will say, though, fig roots in general are absolutely stunning. They make a root mass like nothing you've ever seen. And that's really the whole fig genus, the ficus genus. That goes for Caroline's fiddle-leaf figs that she has. I mean, the roots are really, really nuts. So they can
Audrey
typically...
ficus is really cool.
Yeah, I
If
mean...
you ever have a chance to look at that one.
Look up a strangler fig. We don't really have those, but if you looked up those in nature, they send out the roots from like their stems all over the place. Hence the name the strangler fig. They strangle anything down below. It's got an amazing root system. So figs generally in the ground after a few years, they have enough of root mass to find their own water, even in periods of drought. But if you have a new planting or whatever and you're starting to see those issues, that's when you know to water. Let your plant tell you when it needs water. Don't just assume it needs it. It will give you signs of stress. So if you're seeing that, water it.
They don't really particularly like hot feed either.
No,
It doesn't seem. But
I don't like hot feed either.
no,
But they certainly don't like
Nobody
wet
does.
feet.
no.
Nope.
I mean, most things don't. There are a few exceptions, but figs,
Yes.
you're always going to be better to err on the drier side.
Most definitely. So
Very good.
good old figs.
Good old figs. I have 3. I love mine.
I have
know
3.
David has 1, maybe 5. I know you have one you really like.
I've got one really large one, and there's probably 300 figs on it right now.
I
They're
have none yet.
It's amazing how long it takes them to actually. They look like they're going to be ripe any moment for weeks, and then all of a sudden they all start coming in. So they're not quite there yet, but hopefully within the next few days.
My brown turkey, it took years for it to ever produce any fruit. I mean, it really did. It's a beautiful plant, but I mean, for years and years and years. This year, I think we're going to have the bumper crop. I mean, she is about 7 years old now.
Nice.
But it's about 3 feet tall and almost 8 feet wide, and it dries back to the ground every year. So,
Mine do too.
Yeah.
Every year. All right, we got a hydrangea question.
uh-oh. Good
Austin,
deal.
are you excited?
So excited.
Here we go. My half sun, half shade hydrangeas flowers are burnt to a crisp. What happened?
Well, it sounded like they burnt.
It does sound like they burnt.
it may
Sunburn.
be. Yeah, I'm assuming, I don't know which hydrangea you're talking about, but probably like the Endless Summer collection, which is like the macrophylla hydrangeas, the big leaf hydrangeas that bloom either pink or blue. Those plants really prefer more shade than sun, so if it is half sun, half shade, I'm not sure which part of the day that's occurring. If you're getting a late sun environment that's really, intensely putting sun on top of those flowers, you're going to see some burn on that, and that's obviously what you're seeing. So you got to keep the water to them, especially the first couple seasons. They really, really need to stay moist on those first couple of seasons to keep the flower production going. But it's probably a sun exposure thing. That's usually what it is. Most people think they have more shade than they actually do. And then this time of the year comes around and you start to see the sun's way high up in the sky and it's throwing sun over way more area than you thought it was. And it's probably just burning them up. So I might think about moving them this fall.
I know even one of my limelights has sun damage on it, which I was surprised by.
It's pretty
But
rare.
only one.
Yeah.
But it's getting hot.
I had a customer yesterday that showed me a panicle style hydrangea, which we sell as a full sun hydrangea, like all day long full sun, and it can handle that. It's just that it kind of takes some time to get it there. And she showed me some pictures of her topmost leaves that actually showed a little bit of brown on top of them, and it was mainly just a sunburn. It was no fungus or pathogen or anything. It was just a little bit of sunburn. So I just literally just told her, it was only on like 4 or 5 leaves. I just said take those individual leaves off, and you'll never even knew they were gone. So if you see a little bit of sunburn, if you have a little issues on a few leaves, don't be scared to just take individual leaves off, because when they go brown like that, they're not coming back green again. That doesn't happen. So go ahead and remove them. Just clean them up as the season goes, and you'll have a better looking plant.
Perfect. I was, like I said, very surprised when I saw mine had burned.
Well, you just moved yours too, though, this past season.
Yes, it did. But they've
the
always
winter.
been in full sun. But I
know.
did just move them. And this one's close to a black part of my house, so probably gets even more sun.
The event horizon.
Yep. All right. Are we ready for our
I mean,
next
the house
question?
is
real
painted
quick.
physically black in one area. Is that what you're saying?
My house? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's brick
right.
and it has some kind of black something on it, so it's
Okay.
very dark.
All right.
Tar?
Okay.
Maybe tar? I don't know. It's so old. Who knows what's on that house at this point?
History's on it.
There's a lot of history on that house. Yeah.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the At Home
Yes.
Show. We are a live program, so you can ask your questions
Yes,
and
you
comment on Facebook. We're live on a lot of different channels and pages, so if you like, ask away. We are here to answer any of your questions. We know it's been a very hot and dry period here. Actually, northern
See
Davidson
what it's
County.
doing to me.
Yes. David's kind of dried
burning.
out and shriveling right now, and we're going to have to get him checked out after this probably, but half
I'm hoping to be much better next week.
we are too. We're hoping you're going to be nice and swelled back up by then.
Yeah, we'll see.
But northern Davidson County has
Turgor
been
pressure,
in a
huh?
moderate drought lately. So,
37167's in one. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, people are we're watering lawns in Smyrna, and that is very rare.
yes, my lawn as well. Extra crispy when I walk on it. ASMR is beautiful when but the yard itself is not. So, welcome.
Fireworks were
morning.
great last night, though, guys.
Oh, yeah? Where at?
In Smyrna. They had them. Big show. Yeah, it was good.
This trying to start a brush fire down there?
about
No,
to say.
they do it at the airport. So I mean, it's everything's great out there. I think across from the Lee Victory Park, they're off of the Sam Ridley Parkway, and they do a great job. Had a big deal out at Lee Victory Park. So
I have read some articles that the transition is occurring to drones with drought conditions, particularly in a lot of western cities, that they're not using fireworks. They're using these 250 drone displays that are really quite impressive.
and when you see
to
the
have.
USS Enterprise flying across your sky, that is impressive, David. So I mean,
Yep.
I've seen several of those, and it is neat. But they did a great job last night. Thank you, Town of Smyrna.
Is Davidson County, are they doing fireworks still? Is that still on?
What's good? Yeah,
In Nashville, like the big one?
I believe they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody in Tennessee necessarily canceling so far, but it is dry. I mean, it is very, very, very dry.
Oh, my lawn is crispy.
Oh, mine's dead.
So crispy.
It's not dead, but
Not
it's
dead.
crispy.
We get a rain, it'll green up. It always does. But yeah, it's early to have a
It can
crispy
die.
lawn. Yeah, it can. Some
I won't
parts
have
can
to mow
certainly die.
anymore.
We need to hear from the yard boy to get a report from down south, because they were really, really, it was worse down there for the longest period of time. And I know he's probably out and about being the thug of Petersburg, but I understand it. According to him, if you're not a friend
bacon
of
pusher?
course. Huh? Oh, Bacon Boy? Yeah, he did comment last night when I put the Facebook post up to remind everybody to join the At Home Show. He said his bacon seeds are not germinating, so he's having trouble. So if you're out there, yard boy, call us. You got the number, so you know how to get there. But hey, we have any more questions, Caroline?
Yes, we do.
I
We're
think-
halfway through.
Okay.
So let's go. Let me open this phone. All right. We have another hydrangea question. Austin, are you ready?
Always.
Can you plant hydrangeas in the fall?
Yes, most certainly. That's probably the best time to plant them, to be honest with you. I mean, shoot, if you want to just let them drop their leaves, first and then plant them. That's really the best time. Anything deciduous is really nice to plant in the fall because you don't have to do much over the wintertime. You know, if you plant them right now, you're going to be watering. It's going to be hard on you. So just know that. But yeah, fall's a great time to plant them, and we always have hydrangeas out here.
So many hydrangeas. Our hydrangea section right now is insane.
It's blooming.
I know Taylor was cleaning it up yesterday. Yes, it is blooming.
We
and
just got
very
more
full.
oak leaves, by the way.
Oh boy.
We were down to 2.
We were down to 2 oak leaves.
So you were out, basically.
Oh,
Pretty
yes.
much. And we filled back up. We usually always do that. We're always
we
full
do.
on hydrangeas.
Until we're out.
But I wonder what's the best garden soil to use to plant a hydrangea in the fall or even
Well,
right
you know,
now.
Maybe David
I was
has the
just
answer to
wondering
that.
myself.
Huh?
Yeah, let's talk about Earth Mix garden products for just a moment. And as it turns out, if you're trying to get the absolute best success in your garden, you're going to want to use Earth Mix garden products. And it doesn't matter which product you're using or for which application. There is a complete line of products, one that is best suited for your particular application. If you're planting plants in the ground right now, and you might think, well, gosh, that's crazy. Well, it's not if you're using Earth Mix Landscape. You have great success in preparing your soil, giving the plants the nutrition, the friability of the soil, and adding all of the good stuff that Mother Nature provides. So there's no fertilizer added or any other chemicals. It is naturally fertile product that gives the optimal growing results no matter what you're growing. If you're thinking about tropicals over in Caroline's world, you might want to be thinking of Proganics I, which is the definitive products for all indoor plants. It has no peat moss in it, and if you hate those fungus gnats and they are problematic, you won't have those with Earth Mix Proganics I, simply because there's no peat, and that is the attractive part of soils that have that in there. So use Proganics I to avoid that. One of the, or actually the newest product in the Earth Mix lineup is Earth Mix Relief, and that's RELEAF. And that product is pure 100% leaf compost. So if you want a pure economical product that will help to hold moisture, maybe help control the weeds a bit by shading the ground, and also just really be very good for as it breaks down to build up your soil. Think about Earth Mix Relief as a product using this time of year on your vegetable garden or whatever. And think about Earth Mix products. They're available all over Middle Tennessee and Kentucky. Click on the Find Earth Mix tab, and once you're there, you'll see a map pop up that'll show all the locations around Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, even up into Indiana and Ohio. So check all those out. And remember one thing, if success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. So particularly for people who are the real serious gardeners, and that's you right now, because if you're planting in this time of year, you know it can be done, but you need to use every tool in the arsenal, and certainly Earth Mix is one of the very best to use. Earth Mix, success begins at the ground level. So thanks for giving us a moment to discuss that and help you in your gardening efforts.
Relief.
That relief compost can hold, or leaf compost in general can hold 300 to 500% more water.
Stop.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. It is truly great humus material for creating
That's good
absorbent.
on a cracker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Humus.
to be, that's hummus, Josh.
Oh.
With a
Two-
little
two M's.
with a little cracked salt.
Little pepper.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. It's good for the garden bed. So top off with that,
Huh.
and it's kind of like a mulch compost. You could treat it that way.
Yeah, buddy. Oh my goodness.
I sold
Good stuff.
25 bags to a guy yesterday, one of our regulars who watches us on the Instagram and all our socials. He's a nice guy, and he was wanting to top dress his whole lawn. He's wanting to get rid of his lawn and plant it all with just perennials and shrubs and flowering things and what have you. And he was going to cover the whole thing with relief just to get some kind of organic material down and kind of hold some moisture through the summer, and then he's going to plant in the fall. So Thanks for watching, man. And man, I'm sorry I didn't get his name, but he might be watching.
Customer dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for that. We had a nice chat yesterday.
Hey,
so.
you. Yeah. What up, bud?
Anyway,
That was a
Double
little
down,
bad.
It's either a dude or a dudette.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Brother. What's up?
yeah.
Bubba.
So many
What
nicknames.
you got next, Caroline?
All right, next we got a willow question. Got a mini weeping pussy willow tree, and now the leaves are dying in its pot. Should we repot? I'm assuming you're talking about one of the ones we sold here at the nursery in the houseplant section, and it was basically like a little bonsai willow. You can repot it, but you're probably just not watering it enough. I was having to water those every day. And if a day got missed, the leaves would get a little bit crispy. So if you want to go ahead and repot it, you can. I would size up like an inch or so in diameter. You won't have to water it quite as often, but willow trees are very thirsty little creatures. So you are going to have to be watering that quite often. And they do like a lot of sun. So make sure it's getting plenty of sun and plenty of water.
I even noticed you put it in a tray with water.
Yes, I did.
Just to have water at its root zone almost all the time. So it's another good way to do it if you're a little bit lazy on the watering or you're not giving it enough. Just keep a tray filled with water up underneath it. They can literally live in water, y'all. So you're not going to overdo it by doing that. So it's certainly probably a water issue.
Yeah, definitely. And it gets so hot in our greenhouse that it would dry out within a matter of like 30 minutes after I watered it some days. So yeah,
Well, I
kept
noticed
it in
too
water.
when they came in, their mix was super light.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a potting medium that really held water very well, so the water would kind of run right through it. And that happens a lot in the industry. So it keeps it light. It keeps it from staying too wet, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, during these hot summer droughty times, you got to really soak it or just keep it wet from the base all the time.
That's a good point too, as far as houseplants go. And we were just talking about Earth Mix. Proganics, I always recommend switching out your soil once you buy a new houseplant, especially the smaller ones. Now, when it comes to like large indoor trees, you don't have to worry about that quite as much because those are usually in a good mix. But anything in like a 6-inch pot or below usually doesn't have great soil. So Earth Mix Proganics I is a great option when you buy those new houseplants. You can go ahead and put it in a nice, healthy soil.
Do you think that's because the growers are trying to maximize the profit? I mean, if they're using good mix in it, and they're just propagating to move them on down the line, right?
Pretty much, they're almost always just using peat moss.
Yeah,
almost
that's what I was about to say.
peat.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Because
that's
it holds a lot of moisture, so they don't have to water as much. But then the plant just starts to suffer really quickly because it gets kind of nasty.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so much behind plants. It's wild. Before we move on to our next question, I
Okay.
do want to do a little plant tour of what we have in front of us at this table because I
cool.
did a really exciting webinar on Thursday called Meet Me in My Trailer, The Joy of Trailing Houseplants. So if you're wondering about trailing houseplants, you don't have any, maybe you want more, or you have some and you want to learn how to take care of them, how to propagate them, how to give them a haircut, I talk all about that. And so I kept some of the things I talked about in here today, which is down in front of me, not here at my face where Tyler is. There we go.
You're talking. I wanted to give you the.
Thank you. So we've got the Scindapsus, which is a nice little, hi, I'm back, heart leaf trailer. And next to it, we've got some succulents. So I cover leafy trailers, succulents, some more cacti, some epiphyllum. And I talk about some that we don't currently have here at the nursery, but you might have at home. So we do have some great webinars with the Bates Botanical Boot Camp. And I know that we have some coming up this month for July. I'm not sure if we've released that schedule yet.
Can
No.
you go back to the trailer, the one that the succulent in the middle? Tell me more about that
This
one.
one?
Yeah, that one's gorgeous.
String of bananas. Let's go ahead and pick her up
Okay.
because it's really long.
Look at that.
Oh my God. I could put it on Austin's head and give him a wig. Yeah, but there's some people don't think they're that easy. I find them to be really easy. With a lot of the trailing plants, like I talked about in my webinar, they don't like a lot of bright direct light. It's actually going to stunt their growth a little bit and they're not going to grow as long, especially when it comes to succulents or succulents as well. They like bright indirect light because they're going to reach for that direct sunlight, thus making them grow even longer.
Okay.
So if you have more indirect light in your house, these are a great option. Or you have a lot of house plants or pets that are going to get into your plants, these can hang up high, keeping them away from your kids, your animals, or just adding more plants and more space.
There's a lot of beams being built in homes these days, and there are a lot of ledges and not porticoches, but niches.
We always come back to that on the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do what?
The niches, and they just put them. They put spots in there, and that would be absolutely gorgeous off of a cedar beam coming across a great living area. Be awesome.
Yeah, you can do a lot with trailers. So
Now, do they have anything that would allow you to raise it up and down? I mean, would you have to rig something up to keep it watered? That would be my concern about putting something up high like that. 'Cause
Just take it down when you water it. I mean,
Macrame on a pulley.
Yep.
Yeah.
or do that. Yep.
Yeah, Tyler getting fancy.
Get yourself a boat dock anchor
There you go.
and a pulley, and then just tie it off. Boom.
And you're ready to go.
Yeah. And while you're at it, add a hammock chair. Just right next door.
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah. And then put that on a pulley, and then have your partner hoist you up in the air.
I think you're onto something, Tyler.
You'd have to have it. You'd have to have a trail, though. I mean, you'd have to almost put it on a chain and put it on a track so you could go up and down and water the entire beam. You wouldn't want to just have it in one spot and up. Or
Yeah, kind of like the ladder at a library, but
There you go.
But an aerial. Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay. Great idea.
overhead crane.
Josh Cary, our home expert here.
4-ply 24-inch LVL. That's what we have to hang that off of. Who knows?
He would know. He's our materials expert.
Nah, not LVLs, man.
Yeah.
That's engineered lumber.
Okay.
Shoe
We've got some
mold.
good ideas rolling in.
Shoe mold holds the house up. That's true.
Shoe mold holds the house up.
That's the most structural product in your house.
Is it?
Yep, sure is.
Really?
That and the window casing and your chair rail. I mean, you square it up with
And
the
2x4s.
tubas. What about the trombones?
Before we trail too far away from Caroline's topic,
Guy.
Kill me.
is there anything else that you wanted to say about your webinar?
I
It's
was-
also
I was
going
pretty
live.
It was
done.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going
Did
live.
you watch it, Josh?
I watched more part of it. Yes, sure
Oh, that's exciting.
It's going live later today. So stay tuned to YouTube.
So if you
to
miss
catch it.
us, you'll be able to see my face later today.
And a lot of webinars hit the web this week, including Catch Up on Tomatoes that Austin did. That one
Yep.
hit.
Yep.
We have Ben's webinar, A Prickly Affair, Plants That Poke. I know, we're on a roll, aren't we? And then Growing, Gone, Dealing with Houseplant Failure. That's another one that Caroline did on just why these plants die and what we can do to try and save them.
It's difficult, but it's not
It is.
impossible.
No, it's not. And we just need to identify the needs of these certain plants that maybe are picky, or maybe we're just doing too much for them. Loving them to death.
Needy rascals.
The good thing is we usually say if you're in the nursery trade is you got to learn how to kill some plants before you can learn how to grow them.
Yes.
So don't
So true.
think you're a failure if you lose one. We've all done it, and we still do it to this day. Even the best of all growers can still lose some plants. So
I've killed so many houseplants. I've lost count. I lost count years ago how many houseplants I've killed. So, but I've learned a lot.
Got notches on her trowel.
yeah.
So many. So many. I'm just repeating those notches now. All right, let's get one more question in. 2 huge raspberry bushes with lots of runners and flowers, but never any fruit. Help.
Help. Raspberries.
them.
Well, I don't know how long they've been in. It's pretty rare, I will say, for raspberries to be blooming but then not produce fruit. They're all mainly pollinated by bees, but not just bees. Raspberries specifically are very buggy, if you will. A lot of different bugs and hoverflies and all sorts of little insects are typically crawling all over the bloom. So they typically will give you some good pollination, and you typically get fruit after that. So that's a little bit rare. I will say there is a phenomenon that happens with raspberries, and that is whenever they're in bloom and temperatures are typically above 85 degrees or in the 90-degree range while they're in bloom, they will not set fruit if that is the case. So that may be what's going on, is that you got maybe a later blooming raspberry that's like it's too hot already in the summertime for them to bloom. That could be what's going on, and you're not getting a fall crop. But I will say it's pretty rare. Nowadays, there's berries out there that produce in the spring and the fall. One specifically, which is my personal favorite, is called Heritage Raspberry that we sell, and it's a double producer
Wow.
consistently through almost every year. So you may get one of those out there to kind of just help with pollination in general. They're self-pollinating plants, so you don't necessarily need multiple varieties, but it's just nice to have more out there to get better pollination. And it'll give you a spring crop, and then if you don't get that fall crop because of our summer heat, then at least you had the spring one going. So I'm assuming that's the case.
Are they thorny?
Your
like
raspberries
a
are a little
blackberry?
more touchy than the better known blackberries. I love raspberries, but they're a little more persnickety.
They can
And
be.
as you mentioned. They don't like the extreme heat. They just they'll survive it, but they don't thrive like blackberries do.
Yeah, right. That's the leaves and the plant gets nice and huge, but the flowers just don't get pollinated if the pollen granules don't set is really what it is, and that's when temperatures are above 85 during the day. So can't help the weather,
No, you can't.
especially this year. Good Lord, we got hot quick.
Hey,
Hey,
speaking of the weather,
Hey, what?
Let's talk about whether or not you should be planting and coming to Bates Nursery.
Ha!
How about that
okay.
for a segue?
All right.
And you know what? We're going to tell you that you should because there's a lot of good reasons to. Number one, we've got some great deals going on. If you're a Bates Rewards member and you know who you are, we're offering all of our annuals and our vegetable plants and Earth Mix Relief at 50% off. And that's through the end of business on Thursday. So you need to hurry on in. Come on in this weekend. And that is while supplies last. These are we're kind of doing the closeout on the annuals at this time of year. So if you've got some spots that you failed to get planted, or perhaps you had some trouble in a couple of areas, now's the time to take care of that and save money really big. 50% off on those for Bates Rewards members.
Half
now,
off.
if you're looking for anything else for your landscape, it doesn't matter if it's trees or shrubs, ground covers, ornamental grasses, fruiting plants like we've been talking about here this morning, or tropicals. In Caroline's world, we have everything that you can think of at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And more importantly, we can teach you how to have success even planting them when it's hot summer weather. If you'll notice, we grow them on pavement. So that should be a clue and give you a sense of well-being and encouragement that you can grow them in the ground where it's much easier. So we're going to help you get all the tools to do that with, and one of those in the arsenal is Earth Mix garden products. And if you're planting anything, whether it's Earth Mix landscape that you're going to use for planting all manner of trees and shrubs, or if you want to take advantage of the special going on right now, Earth Mix Relief at 50% off.
I'm getting twice as much as I would have.
Well, and you can afford twice
Yes.
as much that way, Josh.
What's crazy is
Absolutely.
that is the most affordable Earth Mix product we have, I believe.
Absolutely, because it is pure, unadulterated, composted hardwood leaves that have been ground and shredded and composted, so it's a very even, consistent product. Great for using around for mulching around garden plants or whatever you want to use it around, and
Pigs.
it will break down and go right into the soil. So great stuff. Earth Mix Relief on sale this weekend, 50% off.
Half off. Buy
Half
twice
off.
as much.
Yeah, but one thing
We
it's
gotta
not
get it
half
going.
off. One thing it's not half off is our expertise.
Nope.
We have the full amount. Whether you're talking with Caroline or Austin or Tyler or Adam or Shannon or Ben or Joy.
Walk up to anybody
or
out here and
Melissa,
they know what they're
anybody
doing,
out here,
David.
you're
Come
going to
on.
run into an expert, and we're here to help you try to get the right plant in the right place the first time. That's the way we do it. Since 1932, we've been beautifying Nashville. Our 90th year. I like to call it our Emerald Anniversary. We encourage you to come out and see us. We're conveniently located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike, which is just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. And I promise you, no matter where you're coming from, it's worth the drive from anywhere. Check out our website. You see right here on the board, batesnursery.com. Check that out. Everything we sell is searchable and available for purchase online. So check that out, batesnursery.com. And again, come see us. Beautifying Nashville since 1932, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So thanks for giving us a moment to talk about that and to help you in your gardening efforts.
That's a great sale.
Bates Nursery will also be closed Monday, July 4th, so make sure that you come in today, because we're also closed Sundays.
You'll have to wait till Tuesday otherwise.
You'll have to wait till Tuesday, but you can come in because that sale will be going on throughout until the end of business on Thursday.
I bought my best
Correct.
tomato plant last year during this sale.
Nice.
It was the last one. It was toward the end of the season. I got it in late, and it was my best producer.
Those little dudes are survivors.
Yeah, I mean they really
At this
were.
point, they're just like, get me in the ground, you know. And
Well,
most of them are blooming too.
Oh,
And what else is blooming, Austin?
hey!
Bloom with Austin.
All right, what's blooming? All right, the biggest thing y'all are seeing in the tree world out there is certainly crepe myrtles. They are showing off, so yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what crepe myrtles are. Oh, yeah, right behind David's head, we got some purple ones going, and there's white, reds, pinks, and really anything you could, any color you want, really, except yellow. I've never seen a yellow crepe myrtle. But anyway, yep, those are showing off
Only a matter
around
of
town.
time.
Yep, there's not a lot of other trees that are actually blooming right now, minus one that's a small growing tree, which is Rose of Sharon, technically a hibiscus, and they're really showing off. They are really prolific bloomers, so they bloom every day with new buds. They drop at night. It's pretty cool. So, the Rose of Sharon is certainly going. They really like it hot. When it comes to some shrubs, we are certainly, y'all are noticing hydrangeas still. It's just like last year. This has been a really nice hydrangea season. We got the endless summer collections that are popping off, the blues and the pinks showing their stuff. They look nice. And then also the panicle style hydrangeas have started blooming this week. So that's the big ones that have a cone shaped bloom. Limelight is probably our best seller, the most well known, and they started this week. So that's always cool. And getting into some perennials, we've got echinacea, which is the cone flowers. Those are certainly popping off, blooming around the garden. We received literally 200 fresh ones yesterday, and we got some yellow ones out in front of Josh and Tyler and David, and a whole bunch to choose from. So they're looking great. Also, black-eyed Susan, which is commonly gets mixed up with cone flowers, but they're always blooming right now. Pretty yellows with the dark eyes to them. So. Always good. And whenever it goes to, let's kick off, most annuals are certainly blooming still, but we received tons of lantana yesterday, perfect little 1 gallons from Monrovia, and they are annuals, so they are included in our 50% off sale. You can look at these lantana and you'd be like, why in the world are these half price? They are literally perfect. So if you've got, Tyler's holding it up, and this looks like a shrub.
Yep, there's some of them going home.
Literally, they're half price right now. And if you've got some pots that are tired, or you just want to fill in some color, you got some people coming for July 4th, come out and pop those in some containers. They love the heat. They love it dry. So
We're talking $8 or $9.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
buddy.
you can't beat them. You can get 10 of those and really set your house off. So all different colors in that, and we've got plenty of them. And then my final one that I'm going to talk about, I've actually got a picture. Josh, can you throw it
It's
up
ready
on
to
the
go.
screen? I'm ready.
Okay.
Perennial hibiscus, people. One of my favorites. Oh, my God. You just can't beat them. The blooms are as big as your face.
Wow.
Look at that. That is at my mother's pool. Hey, Mama, hope you're watching. I had to give a story about this. I planted this for Mama 3 years ago. It's the exact same pot, never been changed out. I used our product, our Earth Mix Landscape, which is my favorite container mix that we have. And she's never done anything to it. She just keeps it watered, which is pretty much all you got to do. But that's the 3rd year in a row.
Gorgeous.
Never been fertilized. It's just been living. It's come back 3 years solid in a row. And she sent me this picture yesterday outside of her pool, and it's just stunning. Look at the size of
Is
those
that where it
blooms.
lives? I mean, does
That's where it lives.
right-
It never moves from that spot. Right next to the pool, even during the wintertime. Extremely cold hardy plants. You don't think of hibiscus as being perennial, but these are truly perennial hibiscus that are great in a pot, great in the ground. I've got some in my house that just threw its first bloom this morning. So they are on their way and blooming around town, and certainly worth growing because they are tried and true. And when they bloom, they are stunning. So thanks, Mama, for that picture. Like I said, hope you're watching. Good morning. Get in that pool. It's hot today.
Now, did you getting splashed?
Only thing
Father?
missing from that picture are the granddaughters in the pool. Right?
They will certainly be in it tomorrow. We're going to have a shindig tomorrow for July 4th over at Mom's. So they will be in it tomorrow, most definitely. And yeah, they'll be splashing that hibiscus. I'm sure they will. They'll probably pluck a bloom off if I know them. They really love to do that.
They're really cute behind their ears.
Seem irresistible.
Oh, they are.
Austin's first birthday plant to me was a hardy red hibiscus. And this is the second year. It's really clean looking right now. No really pest issues or anything. And it is blooming like
Blooming. It's
like
blooming.
Blooming and zooming. There we go.
There you go.
Coming up with a rhyme.
And those are what I'd call one of the most typical, what I would call heirloom kind of plants. When I think of my grandmother, she always had those growing around the garden, and they are, as Josh, as just mentioned, Josh, by Austin, was that they're almost bulletproof, and you don't really have to do. You've got sunshine, you can grow them,
And they're all different colors, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's even like they'll even stick a couple cuttings, 2 or 3 cuttings in the same pot and get like this tricolored hibiscus, which is kind of cool. You might get some white or pink or red all in the same, in the same pot. So yeah, and we are loaded with them right now, y'all. There's plenty of them now. Mama's had green foliage. The one I've got at the house has really red, purpley foliage, and whenever you get blooms atop of that, it's nice contrast to bounce off other things in your bed. So yeah, definitely worth growing, and we've got plenty. And they look good. We have to water them twice a day, pretty much. So they are thirsty. So do know that if you have a wet spot, a wet, sunny spot, perfect for perennial hibiscus. They are rain garden approved for sure. They can handle wet feet. So if you have that scenario, a good one to use.
That is stunning. It's absolutely gorgeous.
We got a question a couple minutes ago. Is Bates Nursery open on Sundays? No. Bates Nursery is not open on Sundays. Our last Sunday was the Sunday before last. And we will be back open Sundays in the fall. So today is the day if you want to come out on the weekend.
Run out now.
There's Josh's
wait 10 minutes.
lightly veiled threat.
All right, we got 2 more questions left.
Lift.
Let's get to
We got
them.
lit questions. Okay.
They are a little bit lit. Are you
Okay.
ready? Because it's
Yep.
another hydrangea question.
Dun,
See if you
man.
can answer this one.
It's that time of year.
When do I prune oak leaf hydrangea? It's never been pruned.
Never been pruned. I'm assuming it's huge then, because they can get very big. Even the dwarf varieties, dwarf is relative. I mean, you're still talking 4 to 5 to 6 feet, even on the dwarf. So the regular old oak leaf can get up 10, 12 feet tall. I've seen them, like literally. And if they've never been pruned, then they certainly deserve to be. And you're going to do it over the wintertime. And just make sure you don't cut it all the way down to the dirt, because you will, not get hardly any flowers if you do that the next season. So, but if you've got a 10-foot shrub and you take it down to 6 feet and just open it up, clear it out, get any of those crossing sticks or damaged wood or just really old wood that's not very productive, let's go ahead and clean that up. And we're going to do this over the winter months. And yeah, that's the time to do it.
Perfect.
Well, the timing I agree with 100%. Now, I will say that Mrs. Bates has been known to every few years cut ours back to the ground, knowing that they're not going to bloom that year. But in order to get them back low and full, cutting them back really does the job because they get very stemmy. They really stretch. Even though we've got some quote dwarf varieties, which are not all that dwarf. You still need it. We need to cut it back to keep it kind of reined in a bit. And sacrificing flowers for 1 year is really not too big of a deal.
So, David, they bud on the old wood, and so if you cut them, you cut the buds for the next year. Is that how it works?
Right. Right. So you're not going to damage the plant, but you will lose the they do set bud on the previous year's growth. So if you cut that off, you are cutting off the buds. But as aggressive as they grow, sometimes you just have to really cut them back severely in order to do that. Otherwise, you never have a chance to ever recover. So you're going to miss a year of flowers sometime if you decide you want to try to rein them back in. If they are the full Hydrangea quercifolia, they do get quite huge. And hopefully you put them in a spot where that they are free to grow as big as they need to, because they will get big.
Like you said, just sacrifice 1 year of blooms to get a much more, just a refresh. You can do this on a number of plants. If I burn them, is another one that gets just really large. And if you cut back,
Yes.
To the dirt, you're going to sacrifice a year's worth of blooms, but you really refresh that plant. You just get a lot of new growth, a lot of new stems. You just kind of start over. So good practice to do that after a number of years of growing. So I agree with that totally. So just get a restart on it. So there you go. All right, we have another one.
Yes, we do. Sorry.
Let's
get it.
I was peeling
Is it getting
stickers
late?
over here.
He's ready to move on.
We got plenty of time.
I was just sitting here listening to you talk.
I thought we were getting close. I didn't know.
We got about 5 minutes,
All
I
right.
think. 7 minutes. Let's see if you could take 7 minutes to answer this next question.
All right.
Can you guess what it's about?
Is this the last one?
It's the last one.
All right, let's do it.
You're not going to guess? Okay. here we go.
Hydrangea?
No. And also not a rose question. We got 0 rose questions today, which I think is a first. It's about seeds.
Okay.
What is the secret to germinating pepper seeds?
Oh, well, this is a great question, actually. It's a very good question because peppers can be a little tricky to germinate, most definitely. So peppers in general are going to be a straight up solid 2-week to germinate plants. You're talking at least 14 days, if not up to 20 days, even if conditions are perfect for peppers. So first off, they take a minute. We need to know that they take some time. You're going to want to germinate these things in a controlled environment. So seed cells or something where you can really control what's going on. And they need full amount of light. If you try to germinate peppers inside of your home, inside of just like a window, even if it's a bright window, it's not enough, y'all. I'm sorry, it's just not. You really have to have a lot of light. They like warmth, but not too much warmth. So we don't want anything past like 82 degrees. We don't really want that. 75 to 80 is kind of where we want to be. And peppers need to stay on the dry end when it comes to germination. They take a while to germinate, so most people keep them really wet, too wet actually. And that's an issue. So we need to kind of, I used to germinate them in college, and I would almost let them get to where they were almost dry on top before I would soak them back again. And then, let them have that period of dry, a little bit of dry. With all seeds, we need to keep them moist so they can germinate. But with the peppers specifically, don't go too wet on them, okay? Those are some tips that'll hopefully get it up for you. And just be patient. Once they do come up, that's when light is extra crucial. And I mean outside, good amount of sunlight. You may not just throw them out in the dead of the heat all day long or anything, but to get nice and sturdy stems and nice open leaves, we need a ton of sunlight. So hopefully that'll help, and hopefully you have some better peppers.
So the old trick of getting the paper towel, putting the seeds on it, getting it wet, putting it into the Ziploc bag, and putting it in the window is not the best thing to do for peppers at all.
Not necessarily for peppers, no. They take too long. You kind of want to go ahead and get them in where they're going to be, and just be good about the watering. Just think about it, keeping them moist on the very top, but don't keep them just soaked. That peppers don't like that. So there you go.
Would you use landscape for that, or would you use a different kind of?
I like Proganics I when I start seed. I've always had really good luck with our indoor potting mix. It's so light that it kind of doubles as a seed starting mix.
Okay.
So I've always had awesome results when it comes to using that. And then whenever if I was going to transfer, say, a little seedling into a gallon-sized container or something, then I would certainly move it into a landscape, our Earth Mix landscape mix, to kind of finish it or get it ready or prepped to be put out into the bed or the raised bed, whatever it is.
David, is the R&D department working on a seed mix?
Well, yes, part of that issue is the packaging thereof, because a lot of people, if you're wanting a seed mix, really want a smaller bag. So a lot of the issue associated with that is simply having the requisite machinery to be able to handle a smaller size bag. So that is in the works, yes.
Okay.
Insider info.
Did I give away a secret?
I don't know.
Huh?
We'll just have to find out.
We could sell. You could sell it like we used to sell nails at the lumber yard. By the pound. Scoop it up.
Well,
Bring it free bag with every person. You got a free paper bag with every sir. Huh?
Mm.
Yeah, it's sold by volume, not by weight.
I brought this up
because the weight varies depending on the moisture content. So
Well, you can control
that's
that.
why that's the case.
Okay. Maximize the profit.
You do have reasonable control, yes.
Okay. All right.
Still sold by volume.
Volume. Okay. Well, you get a bag full. Paper sack. Number 2. Number 5. No, you ain't
We
going
just
for
need
it.
to get you out here and put you in charge of that, Josh.
Oh, okay.
The easiest way to make that be the way you want it to be.
Well, I mean, just think about it. I mean, it was fun to fill up the nail
No,
bins.
I
You can get
refuse
all
to
the new
think about
rookies
it.
in here. They have to fill up the grow mix bins every day. Mix them more.
Bates
in.
Nursery, nails and dirt. We'll fill it up for you, and you go do whatever
I'm
you want
sure
to do
you
with
could
it.
find an old nail. You could probably. That'd be a really
Well,
cool planter to have an
somebody
old
would
nail
think
bin.
that you're putting iron in there. I think if you put nails with the dirt.
Non-galvanized.
that would be
Oh,
a
Sorry,
very-
they gotta break
galvanized.
down.
Oh, yeah, no galvanized.
If you have enjoyed this insane banter on the At Home Show today, Tell your friends.
Tell your neighbors.
And
Or shake
also
the dog.
subscribe to us on YouTube or follow our page on Facebook, and stick
Hit the
around
like
with us
button.
because we're literally here every Saturday morning.
Yes.
And
Literally.
check out our Instagram page. We have question prompts that go out on the Bates Nursery Instagram page as well as the At Home Show Instagram page, where you can ask your questions or you can ask them live. And then tune in after you've asked them because we like to answer them live for you on the air.
Absolutely do.
We like the spontaneity of it. You know, we don't really want to, have a canned response. We want it to be.
You could sell that stuff in a
spontaneous.
can. That would, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Now first the bags,
Absolutely.
now the cans.
Yeah, you could go cans.
You better give us a scale, Josh.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's missing from this beautiful equation.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. No, never mind. Don't sing, Daddy. Hey, folks.
Keys, scales. What else are we gonna have today?
Oh, it's 4th of July, folks. Be safe. As we are often want to say, don't do stupid on the holiday, so you can join us here next Saturday morning for another at-home show. Hey, for the entire cast, we wish you a happy 4th of July. Be safe out there so you can come out here to the nursery. Get
That
you
means
some-
y'all over there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two over there.
Yeah.
We're going to have to separate them 6 inches now. All right, guys. Hey, thanks again. We'll see you next Saturday morning here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.